Unless you've been living under a rock since the 1990s, you are probably well aware of the international phenomenon that is Pokémon. Ever since the release of the original red and green versions in Japan in 1996, Pokémon has gone on to become the highest grossing multimedia franchise of all time. That's right, it's earned more money than Mario, it's bigger than the MCU, and has even outsold Star Wars. And I think it's safe to say that Pokémon wouldn't be as big as it is if it wasn't for those cool little creatures. Like, seriously, what would you even catch and battle in Pokémon if there were no Pokémon? I bet all of you watching know that this is a Pikachu. Even people that have no interest in Pokémon at all will still know that this is a Pikachu. A 2021 survey of 16 to 24-year-olds found that Pikachu is the most recognisable video game character of all. And a survey of millennials found that Pikachu was second only to Nintendo's mustachioed mascot. However, in that survey, Pikachu was recognised more than Vladimir Putin. And Pikachu also doesn't commit war crimes, so he wins on Putin on two fronts there. Putin also doesn't know Thundershock, because Putin's rubbish. There are currently over 900 Pokémon, and that number keeps rising with each new generation of games. The Pokémon I'm going to talk about today, however, sadly, never made it into a single game. I'm going to be talking about Marin, the lost Pokémon. So welcome to episode 4 of the Intrigueatorium, and today I'm going to be talking about Marin, the lost Pokémon. As with any art or entertainment project, be it movies, music or video games, there will always be some content that doesn't make the final cut. Buy pretty much any movie on DVD and you'll find a bunch of deleted scenes on there that never made it into the final cut of the film. And Pokémon games are no different. They have loads of content that doesn't make it into the final game either. And with Pokémon, a lot of the content that doesn't make the final game are Pokémon themselves. Now, be it through nefarious leaking or the release of an official book about the early development of the original Pokémon games, some of these long-lost critters have been unearthed for us to gaze at and wonder at what may have been. So, why have I picked out just one Pokémon? Well, that's because this one's a little bit different. You see, yes, there have been tons of Pokémon that met their fate on the cutting room floor, but other than the odd design here and there that they'd bring back for a later generation or that book that I mentioned, which was released years later and didn't try to canonise any of the lost Pokémon, none of those Pokémon would ever be officially released to the public. However, the one Pokémon that I'm here to talk about today did make an appearance in an official commercially released Pokémon product. And it wasn't just a sprite hidden away somewhere in the game's code either. You see, Pokémon isn't just a video game series. It has the anime, it has trading cards, it has a whole heap of merchandise and manga. This here is a volume of the manga Magical Pokémon Journey, and this is an official Pokémon and Nintendo product, and can even be proven by all this copyright stuff down here and the Nintendo seal of approval. Magical Pokémon Journey is an official Pokémon manga created by Yumi Tsukurino. This manga was targeted towards girls and doesn't focus on the battling side of Pokémon. This manga centres around a girl called Hazel who has the hots for a boy called Almond. But unfortunately for Hazel, Almond isn't interested. So a weird old man who goes by Grandpa promises to make a love potion if Hazel catches Pokémon for him. The main Pokémon in this manga are Pikachu, Clefairy and Jigglypuff. In Japan, this manga was called Pocket Monsters PPP Adventures. The PPP part of the name comes from the Japanese names of the three main Pokémon, Pikachu, PP and Purin. Individual chapters of this manga were first published in the Japanese magazine Chow. Chow is a Japanese shoujo manga magazine targeted towards girls in their early teens. Collections of these magical Pokémon Journey chapters would then be released in volumes. Chapter 18 of Volume 3 of Magical Pokémon Journey is a story titled The Best Gift Ever, or The Beautiful Christmas Present in Japan. It's a cute little story where Pikachu and Clefairy decide to make a photo frame for Hazel as a Christmas present. If we take a look at the title page for this chapter, we see a happy little Pikachu over here. If we go down, then we see a Jigglypuff. If we go to the right, we see a Clefairy too. But if we go back up from here, wait, who's this? This isn't a Pokémon I recognise. And this, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else, is Marin, the lost Pokémon who appeared just this once and never again. Marin, who shouldn't be confused for the Pokémon Marill, or the character from the anime called Marin, or Maron, which is Hazel's Japanese name, or Link's love interest from The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening either, for that matter. Marin is a Pokémon that unfortunately we don't know too much about. For example, we don't know for sure what Marin's type is. From the name and some of its physical features, such as the webbed feet and dolphin-like tail, we can deduce that this Pokémon was probably a water type. Although, names and appearances can be deceptive. Psyduck isn't a psychic type, and Charizard isn't a dragon type, despite it obviously being a dragon. So what do we know about Marin? Well, we do know a little bit about his origin. Marin wasn't created by anyone at Game Freak, or the manga's author for that matter. Marin was created by a contestant for the Draw Pikachu's Friend contest that was held in Japan. For this contest, entrants would design their own Pokémon and send them in, and the winner would get to appear in situ in the manga. Sadly, information of this contest is really scarce. I've not been able to find any details on who the winner was, the dates of the contest, the original picture sent in by the entrant, or any of the other entries by any other contestants. As for the date, we can narrow it down a bit. We know that Magical Pokémon Journey was first published in Chow magazine in July 1997, as evident on the archived website. The Best Gift Ever chapter was published in December 1998, so the contest would have been held sometime in between. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find any scans or physical copies of Chow magazine from this time frame, so I can't give any more information, although those issues would likely contain the missing pieces of the Marin puzzle. I did manage to find a tiny low-res image from the Magical Pokémon Journey website of the original colour title page for this chapter that was printed in Chow. This shows that Marin was a sort of teal colour. It's also interesting to note that Marin bears a striking resemblance to another lost Pokémon. This is Karusu, who is the water-type starter for the Pokémon Gold and Silver Space World 97 demos. Nintendo Space World was a Nintendo trade show that was held in Japan between 1989 and 2001 to show off all the new Nintendo games and consoles that were in development. The Space World 1997 event was held in November of that year, predating the publication of The Best Gift Ever by about a year. Even though any connection between the two is most likely coincidental, there is still a possibility that the creator of Marin may have been at that event and may have based Marin on Karusu. But then if you're entering a contest to design your own Pokémon, wouldn't you just design your own? So what exactly happened to Marin? Well, to put it simply, Marin showed up that one time and then disappeared forever. Why? We don't really know for sure, but there are a few possible explanations. Firstly, the people who worked on the manga weren't involved in the game development and simply couldn't just make up Pokémon or have fans make up Pokémon and add them to the canon. Secondly, the prize for that Draw Pikachu's Friend contest was likely just that one appearance and nothing more, with nothing else ever intended. Thirdly, there may have been some issues with copyright and IP of that Pokémon, as they may have still belonged to the fan that originally created it, which may have prevented them from using it again. All these explanations are purely speculative, so don't take any of them as definitive fact. So, will we ever see Marin again in an official Pokémon product? I highly doubt it, but you never know. So thank you all very much for watching. Please remember to share, comment, like, subscribe and all that if you did. And why not give that bell icon a cheeky little ring as well. I'd like to give a humongous thank you to all of my amazing Patreon supporters, including these wonderful people. Adam Phillips, Brandon Shoup, Daniel Martins, Eddie, Jeffrey Easton, House of the Ted, Magnus Rosane, Mr. Wolford and Stuart Christopher Brownlee.
And Christopher Turnbull, who joined whilst I was editing this episode.
Thank you all again so much. And if you like this video, then maybe you'd like another video in the Intrigueatorium series. So why not check out episode 3, where I took a look at Alan Turing's computer game from 1948. And until next time,